Hi, welcome to our show. This is YOML. Why are you
That was
laughing?
that was a creepy intro.
Uh,
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, welcome. Yeah. Well, basically, today we are on book Reflection 160, and this is a topic that I think we all been spilling for however long we've been doing this. This is the thing that we are very, very adamant about,
Yeah.
and I think we live by it, and I think you should too. But don't take my word for it. Let's talk about it. Oh,
Yeah.
take it
Because
away, Chris.
we don't know anything, right? Um, yeah. So this is a topic that we've talked a lot about. Like we talked around it a lot. We've talked. We've definitely discussed this topic many times on this journey because
Yeah,
it's important. I think it's
yeah,
like a really important core fundamental principle of what something you and I both believe strongly in and have made it a core part of the culture that we're trying to build. And but that reflection title is I don't know anything, is what we're going to be talking about today. And it was spurred from many books, but it was today I decided to write about this one on this particular book, because this book was called Think Again: By the Power of Knowing What You Don't Know by Adam Grant. So if you don't remember Adam Grant from previous reflections and podcasts that we've done before, I think I want to say this is probably is this the fourth book that's been Adam that's an
yeah.
Adam
I
fourth
wouldn't.
Adam
I
Grant book.
I don't remember.
uh I know we've at least done, yeah, we did Give and Take, we did Originals, this one, and then I guess if you want to count Option B, he co-wrote that one with Sheryl Sandberg. So
Mhm.
so this is our fourth Adam Grant book that we've done on this journey. This is the last one actually of I think this is his only other book. This was his newest book that
You
came
never
out.
know. He could write another
Yeah.
book.
Oh no, I'm sure he'll write more books, but I think this is his fourth book of like that he has. Like I don't know that he has any more books to date,
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I was really excited. Adam Grant's one of my favorite thinkers. I really do actually enjoy Adam Grant a lot. I'm a huge fan of him. I don't know that his podcasts and his him just talking is way more, I think, impactful sometimes than his books. I really loved Option B, which was the book that he co-wrote with Sheryl Sandberg, and then I really loved Originals. I don't know that I loved or sorry, I really loved Give and Take, and actually I really liked Originals. For some reason I didn't really like this book that much. It just wasn't one of my favorite Adam Grant books. I felt like it was very on brand with Adam, but like I don't know that he stretched himself a ton on this one. Like it was I don't
But
know.
but 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 you got
I still liked it.
you got a really great reflection from this book.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, so the book's about unlearning. It's about the process of unlearning, right? Like not taking our
Maybe it's
beliefs.
too
But
simple. Maybe it's too
I mean, yeah,
simple. Like a lot of time when you said something about, hey, like we're talking about the sacred cow, like I have learned so much from this because I didn't know a lot of things that
it's
the
true.
author is being
It's,
kind of revealing to me. But this book is like you probably have
you're so
learned
smart.
most of these already. So for you, it feels like, hey, there's nothing new. It wasn't great. But because it's so simple, it's probably the best lessons and solution for us to
you're
take
you're
on.
you're so fucking smart, True. I mean, you are very spot on. I agree with you. I
But
think one
then
of the
but
reasons
then
probably why I did.
the book said think again.
I know, right? uh the you're probably spot on. One of the reasons why I didn't love this book that much, because I was like, Adam, I'm already kind of past this point. I'm all about thinking again. Like it's okay. Like I mean, we're all about rethinking and thinking again and asking the next question and not being stuck with a particular topic or idea or philosophy or whatever it may be. So I was maybe it's because I was like, you're right, like the ones that you'll see on this journey that I love the most are the ones that I learned the most from, where I'm like, oh man, this is all so new, and like learning is so fun and it's so energizing, and you just want to get it out of your head and share it. Like this one, it was already in my head. I
This
didn't,
is like
yeah,
the
yeah,
alchemist. You think about the
right,
alchemist, right? I think is the best solution was where he was at. The
right.
treasure was in his backyard. He wants to go
Exactly.
to this journey. So we have the same sort of mental state. If you want to go and learn more because it's fun, but the best lessons is the things that we see that are as simple as, right in front of our eyes.
For
Something,
sure.
most of the stuff is under our nose. And
Oh,
to
for sure.
me, this
Yeah.
is, like I said, the reflection title for me is probably my top five, like, that I cannot live without, right? I
Right.
will never ever go in and take anyone's um or anything for granted, because I don't know shit.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
And
Well,
and,
don't
and
don't ruin it. Let me do the reflection. So, because I know we have plenty to talk about after we're done. So, so I'll just jump into it. So this book was a great reminder. It was a good midway reminder point of this journey of
Mhm.
anybody that's followed along with this journey and anybody that's heard any of our conversations before. I think we will both adamantly say and happily say, I don't know anything, and neither do you, to be honest with you, and not just you, the pervert, not you, but like
the
anyone
you
else,
the
right?
uni
Like, yeah,
the
the
you
you,
the
right,
universe the you
right.
universe.
But we've said this. I don't even know how many times we've said this over the course of this journey, but I truly mean it. It's not just words, and I know that you truly mean it, and it's not just words. So for me, I truly meant it so much that I decided to add humility in as one of my newest core values. About probably about a quarter of the way into this journey, as I was writing the book about my daughter, and toward the end of it is when kind of that whole particular journey was wrapping up with finishing the book, and I was sharing my own core values. I decided to add humility into there because that was one of the big things I discovered along my journey with her out of after like in the earlier stages of this journey was like, man, like your paradigms can be shook in a heartbeat, and as I was exploring more and more and more, it just was like clear, like I don't know anything. Like, I mean, I'm not even, and I don't even pretend to know anything at this point in time anymore. And it's it's funny because I was like, look, the truth is like we know like such an infinitesimally small like amount of knowledge. If we know anything at this point in time, it's almost like comical to think that we actually know anything. And I wrote in this reflection, I was like, people reading this are probably like, Chris, come on, like, we're 158 or 160 reflections in. I just finished reflection 297 this morning. And we've on our way to the 365 book goal, and like they would say, come on, you got to know something. Like, and I'm dead serious. Like, no, actually, the more that I learn on this journey, the more that I think I'm dumber. Like, the more it's like I feel dumber like than I did before I even started this, because there is like such power and conviction and kind of ignorance, when you only think when you think you really know something. And there it is powerful, but it's also so dumb. Like because you don't know any. I am not married to anything. I do not ground myself in anything other than my values in this point in time in life, because that's the only thing that I know that I can control, and that I can do with my daughter every single day, and then I can live my own life. Like, but beside that, like I don't know anything, and that's really just a feeling of what I care about most. Like, I mean, values are abstract, right? Like, they're not. There's not like this tangible. Like, I know, like love is a value of mine or something like that. It's a feeling, right? Like, I know how that feeling makes me feel, and I know if I either like that or I don't like that. But the as I was moving on in this reflection, like it's if you're following along with this journey and you're reading this reflection, you might think like what the hell? So like, is if knowledge is if ignorance is bliss, and like knowing and unknowing and it just is questions that lead to more questions, like that doesn't sound really fun. Right? Like, is this really the best way to go? And I think if you think that, you're missing the whole freaking point of this whole entire journey. It's not about knowing anything. It's not about seeking truth. It's not about being right. It's not about some goal or some outcome that we're trying to get to. It's not about some reward at the end of the journey. It's not about some you know business that we're trying to build or whatever. It's not about any of that. It's just literally about exploring your values and enjoying your life and doing the things you love to do. And for me in particular, it's living for my daughter. So like, that's what this thing has always been about. That's what it will always continue to be about. And because of that, at its core, I don't know anything, because I don't know where we're going. I don't know where I'm going to be in a few years. I don't know what my life's going to look like. I don't know what my life will look like tomorrow. I don't know what I'll know tomorrow. I don't know what I won't know tomorrow, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to have any idea of where this shit is going. Like, I'm just not even going to even joke about it. So my advice for anyone, that's following along this journey or interested in unlearning as a way of thinking and following a life of questioning is make sure you anchor it to the concepts that you value the most, and don't set it to some goal or some hope that you want to acquire something, because like it'll get you nowhere fast, and then you're going to be really frustrated, because it is frustrating if you think you're asking questions for more questions on top of more questions, and unlearning and unthinking and rethinking and unlearning and asking more questions towards some goal, like that sounds miserable. Just don't do that. Like, do it because about the stuff you care about, and just keep exploring, and the whole world kind of opens up for you, and it's really fun. So I'll pause there, and that's the reflection. So yeah, love to get your thoughts.
So what's the reflection?
Reflections, I don't know anything, and humility, and make sure that you don't know anything, and keep that at the center of your journey, because
So
like
what do
that's
you
what it's
mean?
about.
What do you mean by make sure you don't know anything?
Oh, I'm sure that I don't know anything.
So to me,
That,
it's not about making sure you're
yeah.
understanding. So the thing
Right.
is, for me, it's when I was younger and was my 18 and 20s, I know everything. And as I go older, as I learned more, I've learned there are more things that I don't know. And as time progresses, that list keeps growing. So that me,
Exponentially
so
fast.
it means that when I was younger, right, I know like 100% of the things on the list. Now I know about 1% of the thing on the list.
Right.
If that makes sense to you, right?
Yeah, no,
The
it
thing,
does.
the
Yeah.
thing is, the more we learn, the less we know.
You get stupider. I mean,
You think about it, right? When I was younger, I know about 80 to 90% of all the things that there is to know.
yeah. I mean, think about
According,
your kids
uh,
when they're a
according to
baby.
me, according to
Right.
me,
Right. According to you.
right?
Yeah.
And then when I get older, I learn more. I just learned that there are more things that I don't know,
You're right. Yeah.
right? So the thing is that's the beauty of these things is when you think it means that you have limited scope. That's all it is. Your list is just not all there, and when you
Right.
are more learned, and there are things that you don't know.
Unlearned. Unlearned.
Well, you
Because
didn't
it's because
unlearn. You didn't
when
unlearn. It's just that you learn that you knew less than you would have
it's
before.
you can't learn. Like, the point of this book was like, you have to look at things you have to unlearn what you already know to look at things from like the first principles, things like that, like we talked about in the
Well, I think I disagree
past.
with that, whether that's with you or with Adam Grant, because you don't
Yeah.
unlearn it. You learned it. You just learn. Just like I told you about the Bayesian decision tree, right? It's like you have one piece of data. You say, well, I have two pieces of the puzzle, right? I have one of them. That means I have 50%. But the problem is when the more piece of puzzle comes, there's a 10 comes in, and I have 8, right?
Right.
8 out of 100. Well, that's not 50%. That's just 8%. So the more I have 8 pieces of puzzle now, before I had one. But before I had one, I thought there was only two total. But now that I have 8, I know there were at least 100. Therefore, in the beginning, I
I
knew
don't know what you're saying.
50% of the data, and now
I don't know what the fuck you said. Hang on. Whoa, I really lost you on that one. Like, go back and do that one again, because I need to unlearn what I did. I need to learn what you just said, because I was like,
you
what
got
is?
you
I
gotta.
lost you.
Because the thing is, when I was younger, I got one piece of the data
No, I
point.
got that stuff. When you started talking about the Bayesian tree, like, I mean, I was
Okay,
following you for a second, and then I
you
lost
know
you.
what a
Like,
Bayesian tree decision is? The Bayesian decision tree.
no, I've heard of
It,
Bayesian.
Bayesian is basically it's just saying, hey, if I have one piece of data and I make a decision based on that data, right?
Okay.
That data, right? That decision I made, it stands, right? That's what we do. It's like when we say, well, I don't like Chris or whatever. But
Right.
the basic decision say, hey, when you have a piece of data, you make a decision based on that data. But when new piece of data comes in, you should re-evaluate the decision with the two
Oh,
pieces of
sure.
the data.
Yeah.
If you have
Right.
three, then evaluate with the three pieces of data, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is when you first have one piece of the puzzle, one data point, and
Right.
you assume there's two data points. Therefore, you think on that decision you have 50%. of the decision, the data for you to make an accurate decisions. Now you collect 8 pieces of the data, but that 8 pieces of data suggests that at least 100 pieces of data there's in all totality, right? Therefore, your decision comes from 50% right to now you have only 8% right, right?
Right.
Even though you have more data point than before. Before you had only one, now you had 8. It increases. You learn more data points,
Mm-hmm.
but then you knew that data point is actually less accurate than you had before. So that's basically how I see how we kind of traverse through life. It's like in the beginning, we knew everything because our scope of what we see as a whole totality is so small. When we
Right.
learn more, that can expand the horizon and say, well, yes, I knew 8 times as much as I knew in my previous year, but now I'm like a little fish in a big ocean
Right.
versus I'm a small fish in a little
Um,
jar,
this
right?
this is why learning is so fun, because it's what we talked about. It's novelty, collapse, or novelty unfolds time, and monotony collapses it. If you only ever know, like, that's why traveling is so fun, right? You get to see new places and be around new people and new culture. Everything's so new. It's like, feels like time takes forever, when you're, I don't know about you, but like vacations feel like they last forever sometimes for me, because we're like, sometimes it can be even exhausting because we're like, oh my God, there's so much new stuff going on, but like but to that point, it's like, if you always think, well, yeah, this is Indiana's, Indianapolis, my little corner of the block over here is all that I'm ever going to know and see in this world. Like, that's just it's just boring. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad. You can find joy in that, and you can find purpose in that, but like, getting outside of that, and you get immersed in all this other new stuff, and you're like, oh shit, there's new things out here, and I can go learn all these things. Or like, you can, luckily we can stay at home now, and you can learn from your computer and to internet and technology or whatever. But my point is like, it's the joy of learning and unlearning and rethinking and thinking and adding more data points, like you said, that is the point. Like, it is
Right.
embracing your values.
It's not.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's not the unlearning, because you think about it. In the beginning, we think we are the center of the universe. The sun revolve around us. The moon revolve around us,
Right.
right? That is our perspective. That's our decisions. That's what we've learned, right? To say that we then figured out that, hey, there are a whole, like, uh you know solar system, right?
Right.
With the sun as being the center, and we revolve around it, and then a bunch of other planets as well. So did we unlearn that we were the center of the earth? We didn't unlearn that. We just learn on top of it and readjust our decisions. So that's what
Sure.
I'm saying. We don't unlearn the shit. We just learn more shit to understand that the shit we have compared to the massive totality of it, it's just actually gotten smaller. So
Right.
for us, it's like when we get older, we know that there are more things that we don't know.
Oh yeah, for
if,
sure. I
if
mean,
that
like,
makes any,
it's
because I think that's
no, it
why
does. Yeah.
that's why I want to bring up the Bayesian decision trees, because you
Yeah.
actually don't discard the decision you make. You just adjust the decision based on a new piece of data that comes in. You
Sure.
evaluate the data at a new point in time.
Sure.
So you don't unlearn it. You say, hey, I shouldn't think about I said, when we were the quote unquote center of the universe, right? We make the decisions and we act in that way. But now that we just don't say, hey, we unlearn that. How can you unlearn knowing that you are the center of the universe? Now you're not, right?
It it's
You just learn
it's
on both of it.
instability.
It's
It
one of those
inst
things where
inst
when you're talking
Go
about the
ahead.
red pill and blue pill, right?
Right.
You just say, hey, I'm going to go and un I guess swallow the red pill and then swallow the blue pill. You can't
Right.
undo it, right? But
Yeah, that's fair.
the only way for you to understand the differences is you swallow both of them. So you take both of them and you have that comparison to have a point of reference to compare the two, to know, hey, this one's better in this way, this one's better in that way, this one's worse in this way, this one's worse in the other way. And so it's the same thing with the data point. If the data point comes in, is we are learning more. As we learn that there's more things to learn,
For
right?
sure. I mean, it's infinite.
When we are exploring, right? At first, when I walk through at the door, I see there's a bookshelf, right? These are like, maybe there's 20 books in the bookshelf, right? I say, hey,
Right.
there's only 200 books out. But then when I do more learning, more quote unquote exploring, I found out there's like hundreds of bookshelves, right?
Right.
Then my totality of the knowledge I'm supposed to learn, right? Let's say I first walk into the door and I saw one bookshelf with 20 books in it. I read one book. See, I've learned one book, one of 20. Great,
Right.
I have only 19 to go. And then as I learn, quote unquote, learn more, look beyond the bookshelf, I see more bookshelves, and there's halls and bookshelves and buildings after buildings and halls after halls of it. Then I
Yeah.
know, oh shit, I've actually learned more than I learned than I had before. But then I knew that I knew less than I knew before.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I 100%. Like it's there's the other side of the coin of this whole entire thing. We've talked about this before. Is you know, why would you, if it's so nice to just always know something, like why would you want to go rock that boat? Like if like
that's the thing for me is like when people say ignorance is bliss, right? I kind of tend to
I
disagree with
disagree.
that
Yeah, I
because
mean, yeah,
to me, I'm saying is my opinion is that life is hard, and if you don't know that life is hard, it's actually going to be worse for you, right? Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid. That's what Darwin said, right?
I don't know that we're
So
smart though. Is the point?
no,
Like
no,
I
it's not
think
about being smart
right.
or being, but because if you think you know, right, something, but don't have the so basically when you say I know all this to know, I know 20 books in the bookshelves of the with 20 books and I read them all 20, right? I knew all of them. So I'm going to use that knowledge to navigate my life. Do you think I'm going to be as good? I knew 100%. 100% of the all this to know, quote unquote, all this to know, the whole bookshelf that I see, right? Ignorance bliss, as you said, right? I knew all the answers in there, and I used that answers to navigate my life in the universe. Versus a guy who knew 1% of the whole entire library, right? You compare the life of those two guys. Which one you think is gonna have a much better life?
I mean, so here's the thing: is it's an interesting thought what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I go back to the monotony versus novelty unfolds time and monotony collapses it. Like when you think you know everything, life is fucking boring. Like it's so fucking boring. Like I mean, it is like who wants to drag on their entire life going, well, I know it all. What's the point? Like, what's the point at that point in time? It's like, what if you already know everything and you're rock solid and happy? I guess you can just sit there and go meditate for the next 90 years until you bounce out of here thinking about the one thing and I don't know, like it's just there's something, we're addicted to choice. We
No,
are.
we are addicted to changes. We're not addicted to choice. We're addicted to changes because, like you say, we are built that way. We are built to have changes. Because imagine you knew everything, then life you don't live anymore because there's no
Yeah, we
point.
would.
There's
Yeah, we
no
wouldn't
point,
survive.
right?
Yeah, we wouldn't.
Just imagine you have the gold the Midas touch. If you have the Midas touch, you won't live that long because you have everything you ever wanted. Life will be fucking boring. You're gonna blow your brains out. You think
Not
of
only that, you'll get killed because there'll be somebody that comes at you
no,
and you'll.
not let's take away just the external factor of you getting killed. Okay,
Sure.
you will actually kill yourself
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, yeah.
because you needed some kind of change, some kind of pain in your life to know that you're alive. Because like if everything is like this, just like for example, if you know about like if you stare at one point too long, then you see nothing but black because your eyes doesn't have the change that it needs to detect.
Yeah. I
You
didn't know
won't
that actually.
well look it up. It's basically your eyes. If you fix on one point too long, then you start to black out because there's
I
no
know that.
change for it to tell the difference. So that's
I
the
didn't.
thing is for us, our gene is designed to be like that. So that means that if there's nothing for you to strive for, there's no you have there's no emotions. You have no emotion, you are dead. I mean,
Yeah,
you are living dead, right? And
I agree.
so people yearn. for these changes where they, I mean, you look at a lot of people who are really, really rich, but they have very poor intelligence. They die early because they go and do crack cocaines and whatever just to get a kick.
Right.
They will eat like the most spiciest jalapeno peppers, or they do skydiving. They need some kind of kick to say, hey, I'm alive, because life is so fucking boring when you don't have any kind to anything to supplement the change. The change causes your emotions to go up and down. It's your endorphins and your dopamine
Yeah.
and your what you call the here now and the
The serotonin and oxytocin.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
so those things don't start to release unless you have those changes,
Yeah.
right?
The
If it
events.
stays
Yeah.
the
Yes.
same,
Yeah.
right,
Right. Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
not there, and you
Yeah.
don't actually feel alive, and in order for you to feel alive, you're gonna do things like, like you said, cracking cocaine and overdose and all these things. Yes, I mean, most of the people who are have everything they ever need, right? They are into this weird stuff just because there's nothing else they can do. Did you
Yeah.
think
No, that's a
about
good
it?
point.
We are wired for that. So like I said, back in many other previous episodes, we say, hey, you are built for in a certain way, and you have to abide by that. You know, the
Yeah.
patterns or whatever that uniqueness that you are. If you're a beaver, you will be happiest when you're in a pond. It's just not
I did
gonna be.
not think that beavers were going to come into this conversation
It
today. I mean, I'm not
always
going to lie, but then again, I don't know anything, right? So
Exactly.
I
You
mean,
don't know shit. I don't know shit.
I
I think
I
I
did
put it
not
more
expect that one.
eloquently in saying, hey, I don't know shit. You don't know shit, and we don't.
No,
I think that
I
drives it home. It drives it home
yeah.
a little bit better than I don't know anything. Right? Uh, I mean,
No,
shit.
that's funny.
Shit's a powerful word.
Yeah, there's a book. We'll do it in the future here. It's called A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. It's like one of the only fiction books that I've read on this journey. I mean,
Mhm.
I maybe did like 10 fiction books, or maybe like 15. I don't know. Let's just call it 15 at this point in time. And this is one of my favorite ones that I did was A Brave New World. Which do you know what that? Have you ever heard about that book, or you ever read that one before?
No.
So it's like a really famous like book from like the 1920s or 30s or something like that, of like around the same time that 1984 was written. Is another author, famous author named Aldous Huxley, wrote a similar kind of dystopian, look into the future kind of thing, of called A Brave New World. In this brave new world, all these citizens, they take this pill, and it like keeps them completely stable all times. Like the core values of the society are stability, community, and uh stability,
I mean,
community. I can't.
imagine everybody looks the same, everybody wears white. I
Yeah.
mean, it becomes so mundane. You going to die because the thing you think about it. I can remember the time when I mean, I stand in line waiting for some stupid shit.
Right.
Right? That is the longest fucking life in my existence. It's like this is so horrible. I can't stand it. That to me is one of the things that it drives us, right? Because we cannot be still. It's not possible. If you are
Right.
still, you're gonna suffer immensely, or you're dead. Like you're the living dead, right?
Right.
Whatever you want to say, let's say you give me a pill that will prevent me from acting out my emotion, but I will
Right.
feel mentally so depressed that life is not worth living. There's no need for me to be here.
This is exactly what the book's about. I mean, like, is like stability, and is like the main value of the society, right? So they do everything they can to like keep their emotions stable, to keep their lives stable. They don't have sex anymore because they like grow babies in like a like artificially create them to be a certain thing. They train them to do anyway. Like obviously the moral of the story is they revolt at the end when somebody that was like a wildling that came from outside of their society, and he's like has a full range of emotions, and they're like, I want to be like that,
That
and they all start to
becomes interesting, because
yeah,
the thing
right,
is,
yeah,
without the differences, how can you tell? Just go back to what I'm saying is
right,
the red pill or the blue pill. No, you have to take the both the red pill and the blue pill to know the difference. If you take one
Right.
or other, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you and I don't look different, right? There's no interest. We have no interest in each
And
other. It
and
just
and it goes against the universe too, like, because the universe is unstable, as all get out, right? Like, I mean, we need instability. Like, I mean, I'm a firm believer. You're right. Like, we need both ends of the spectrum at all times, because you can't just be one stable, like, that's not balance, right? Like, you get balance by being unbalanced,
but yeah,
by instability.
just imagine yourself walking into a neighborhood where every single house is exactly the same door, same
I
brick,
hate those
same,
neighborhoods. I
right?
hate
It's
them.
like, what's the point? What is the
I
point? It like I
I,
say, you hated it that, right? Because
I
we're built to say, hey, how do I tell the difference?
right.
Then you see like maybe one little piece of like grass or one piece of stain on one of the house. That becomes the interesting part of the
Right.
whole experiment. It's because the thing is you don't want everything to be the same. The thing you think about it is that's the reason why humankind is so interesting, just because like of all the people that has ever lived, right? No one share a single identical set of genes.
Right. Well,
Not a single.
nobody, nothing on this entire world, to my knowledge, shares identical genes in any walk of
Yes,
life. Like, what plants, the animal. I mean,
that's even it's even twins. They don't
right,
have exactly the same gene. They have
right.
a lot of them are the same, but not all of them. And that's what makes them different, right? Even
Right.
for twins. And that's the thing is
Every person
when
is
you think
new.
about it, all the houses are the same, right? To the exact paint, exact same stain, and to everybody in that lives in that same neighborhood, it's exactly the same. Dresses like in the white pants and white whatever, right?
Right.
That becomes to me becomes like
It's hell.
basically
It's hell.
I'm blacking out just because it's so boring. It's so much
it
boring that my brain shuts down.
there was a show I used to watch on Netflix. It was called uh oh my god, what was it called? It was about the devil. It was like a funny comedy about the devil. It was called Lucifer. Have you ever heard of it, or you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's really funny because it's like the devil basically goes to LA and he runs a nightclub, and he's like really like a nice guy, really, and everybody like loves him, and it's a funny show. And
Okay, okay. It's TV
the
series, right?
Yeah, it's a TV series.
Okay.
It's on Netflix now. But anyway, so the devil, he always talks about this thing called a hell loop, and we talked about this with trauma. Is an imagination thief, right?
Hmm.
Like, it's I actually think a hell loop, and they showed it in the show. Like, you did the same thing, you relive the same event over and over and over and over and over again. It's your hell loop, right? Like, you're just stuck in this one moment, like, whether you like it or not, I don't even know, but I mean, probably it's a moment you don't like, but you got to relive it over and over and over.
This is the
Like,
utmost torture
that is
in my
torture. I
mind.
mean, it's like trauma, right? Like, I mean, it's like trauma is your imagination
I
thief. It
mean, to
takes
me,
away the ability for the rest of life to be
or not is still the utmost torture that I can ever think of.
right. I mean, it makes me think of like a hell loop, right? Like, not by being ignorance is bliss and just saying, well, I know this, and like, this is all that I know. It's kind of like you're making your own hell loop, like, you're stuck in your own, you know, like, this is all that I know, and see, I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over again, and it is torture to us. Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you're talking about
it's
the
a,
word monotonous. That is
right.
the enemies of humanity.
Yeah,
Humanity cannot take monotonous. It just can't. They. I mean, you think about it, like we want,
we revolt.
yeah, we want to have differences. We want to have like things that we uncover. Just like when you say, "Hey, I've read this book, Sacred Cow," right? I learned so much. I think this is the best book. You have this heightened emotion because there's so
Right.
much more stimuli that comes into your senses, your sensors, right? And your sensor is it activating these chemicals in you that give you the height and low, and then you can detect that, because without the detection you don't know you exist. That's why when you read a book like you already familiar with, like, well, it's a
Yeah.
hell loop for you.
It
It's like,
was it was
hey,
that's
regardless
exactly
of
what it was.
how much information and how good the solution it provides for you.
Or how much I like the author, because I really like the author. Like, I mean, I'm not even gonna, like, that's such a good example, is because, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I finished this book and I read it all, but I don't remember much of it at all because I was like, this is boring as shit. Like,
I
I'm like,
mean,
this is
yeah,
like, for me, it was not new. It was not novel. It was not like, I was like, yeah, Adam, we've been doing this for this is like one of our day one founding principles of Clubity. It's like we don't know shit, like, and that's I get it. Like we're in this, like, we're with you. Like, I don't need to learn any more about this. Like, I want to go. It's like your anti-library versus your actual library. Like I'm
yes,
I'm reading my own. Like I don't want to read my own the library of the books you already read. Like I want to read the books that I don't know. Like
okay.
that's when you get really excited, and that's when life is fun again.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
you think about it, pick your best kind of food and just pick the best food you've ever had, like the best food you ever had, and then you eat that for 1,000 days,
yeah,
every day for 1,000 days. You're gonna throw up the next time you even smell it,
yeah, you're right. I mean, like,
right? So
yeah,
pick your best movie. You say this is the best movie I've seen, and watch it 100 times. It's an
it'll
experiment.
be
Watch
awful.
it,
Yeah,
watch
it'll
it a
it'll
hundred times. That movie is gonna make you sick, right? This is what I'm calling the monotonous. Is the whole loop. It is
yeah,
the enemy of humanity. It's the utmost torture that you can give anyone.
right.
So
Agree.
for anyone to be in a zone where they knew everything and create their own hell loop, they're just creating torture for themselves.
Yeah, right. They're just like by not wanting to go explore and learn more things, they're just torturing themselves, and like they're doing and you don't go learn to go for the don't do it for the wrong reasons. Don't do it like Adam says in this book. Don't do it to be a preacher, a prosecutor, or a politician where you're trying to go prove a point to somebody. Like I know now that I know like and I'm gonna like become a preacher or a politician or that's not the point. The point is just to avoid the hell loop. And the point is to live your values and what you care about and avoid the hell loop, right? And to keep doing what you want to do every single day until you can, and exploring that stuff. Like that was kind of what I was trying to get at. I don't know that this is my best reflection ever because once again, I didn't love this book, so like it's hard to write reflections sometimes on books you don't even really love. But
But I think I
yeah,
mean to me this is one of the best reflection, even though you may not like the book or may not think you like the book. But I think it's a good book because it kind of elucidate the fact that we don't know nothing, right? We don't
yeah,
know shit.
oh yeah,
And
no, I agree.
and with that, the basis for that is that it gives you the most optimal trigger for the chemicals, right? Up and
Mhm.
down, right? The molecule of more plus the molecule of here and now. Right? You maximize the release of those things. Okay, those things gonna balance each other out. So you want to release them, but you want to
Right.
release the other one as well. And so you having just for that principle alone, right, will give you enough impactful memories in your life that when you leave this earth, right, you knew that hey, I have had so much experience that I am content to leave. I don't
Right.
have as much regret as I should.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Even for that, right?
No regrets.
No regrets, right? Exactly. So if if you don't get anything out of it, that is much more than the benefit for you to kind of take this and hold it as your number one. The second piece is once you have the concept of I don't know shit, right? That allows you to even better yourself by able to see beyond the first bookshelf of 20 books.
Right.
Then you have more opportunities that I can explore, right? And I can see
Yeah.
more things. I
It's
can
unending. It's impossible. It's infinite and
infinity,
infinite.
right?
I mean, yeah, yeah.
And so the thing is, there's not gonna be a day when you say, well, I have got to the end of my learning journey. There's nothing more to learn. It's time for me to lay down and not
That's
exist.
that's when you die. I mean, that's honestly
You
when you
think
die.
about
I
it. You
mean,
think
it,
about it.
it really is like I mean, the Man's Search for Meaning book. I will never forget this when he talked about when he knew that somebody was when they were ready to check out, they would light their last cigarette, and everybody knew like that's it. Like they're smoking their last cigarette, like they're that serious about life being over, and they're like this is it. I'm giving up. Like I mean, in a lot of ways, this could be similar to that, where it's like you're like, look, I'm done learning. Like I'm gonna go sit in my hell loop until I die. I'm gonna go smoke my last cigarette and just waste away. Like
But
I mean,
that's the
like
thing, you think about it, right? So one of the blessing in life, right, is actually death.
yeah,
right?
I can see
I
that.
mean, so don't jump on me yet, because I think you think about it. If you get stuck in a hell loop, how do you get out? It is called torture for eternity. Let's say you live forever
Yeah.
and you in a hell loop. That is why death is actually a gift. When you think about it, when your body, when you get to the to an age where your body are failing, you can't breathe, you're suffering, it aches all the time, right? You wish for it because
Yeah.
you have to get out. This is a torture. But imagine the ultimate torture, which is the hell loop that you talk about. That torture for eternity. This is
That's
the worst thing anyone can give anyone.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's
It
why to
is.
me, death is actually a gift that you want it because it's a way out. It ends it.
If you're not having fun.
It ends it. I'm seriously, because you think
Yeah.
about it, right? Because we are born with a certain set of gene patterns. That pattern makes us behave a certain way. We
Mhm.
need to be able to move. We need to be able to learn. We need to be able to detect the changes. The
Right.
changes is what we're addicted to. It's the up and the down, right?
Yeah.
When we just like want to go vacation, okay? We gotta hurry up and get on the plane. And when we're on the plane, we gotta hurry up and get out of the plane,
Right. Yeah. We get
right?
the hell off this
We
thing.
we get into
Man,
vacation, right?
that's my hell loop is the airport. If you put me in the airport every single day of my life, like I'll be like, that's my hell loop. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like that's anyway, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. But then when you go on vacation and say, hurry up and get over it so you go back. And
Right.
go back and you want to go. The thing about it, it's not the destination that you want to be. It's the changes that you want.
Yeah,
You
no, I agree.
you think about it, right? You say, imagine you are on vacation for a week, a month, whatever. Eventually you get tired, you want to go back and do some work.
Right.
And then when you work too much, say, hey, I want to stop working. I want to go do nothing on vacation. So you
Right.
think about it, it's not the destination. Because if it was more a destination, when people got to its destination, they would stop, would just stay there and they won't come back. But the
Right.
thing is, when we
But
all go on vacation, we want to go back. And when we go back, we want to go on vacation or some other place. It is the changes that we want.
right.
And that's
It's
just the gene demands it because that's the patterns of the gene that makes us act the way we act.
I totally agree. I mean, it's why people quit their jobs all the time because they're so bored. Like they're like, I already know how to do this. I'm done. Like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I mean yeah. Anyway, I mean I'm with you. I think we beat this one to a
To a
pulp. But
pulp.
yeah. I mean, and we'll continue to harp on this topic for
Because I
another
think it's
100
important.
100
It's a top
200
5.
episodes. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to inject this concept throughout the whole
We
entire
already
journey.
have, and we'll continue. I
And
mean,
we'll continue to do it because I
because
think
it's really at the heart of it. I mean,
it is. It is
yeah.
the heart of it because at the end of the day, it's about the core values of balance, right?
Right.
In order you have to balance, then you have to kind of learn and unlearn, and then have those triggers of the molecule of more and the molecule of now. You have to have that
Yeah.
kind of maximizing the release of those
I mean,
chemicals.
at the core at the literal core of balance is humility of I don't know anything. I mean, because like it's how do you know what balance is unless you're willing to go test out like what balance even is. So like you can't know it until you go explore it, and then you're constantly trying to tweak and maintain the balance because it's a constant give and take all day long. Like so like at its core, like once you find what you'll never have balance. I mean, we've talked about this like a million different times over, but it's like you can't like I mean have balance. Like it's an unobtainable state. Like and that's the whole point. Like it's constant change, it's constant variations, it's constant tweaking, it's
And
constant
that's what we're
manipulation.
made. That's
Right.
actually what we're made to do.
Yeah, right. I know that's what I mean. I'm like the definition of balance is instability. I mean, really is what it is.
When you don't have balance, you die.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like if you go too far to one direction and you never come back, like I agree with you on that. Yeah.
And also literally because when you're standing, right, you're
Yeah.
balancing. When you're sitting, you're balancing.
Yeah.
Right? What happens when you don't have any balance?
I mean, you just fall over. Yeah.
You're dead.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, yeah.
we as a unique patterns of these molecules, these chemicals, these compounds, these DNA. That DNA, it is centered around balance. You have to have balance that kind of switch back and forth to make changes for us to be existing. Just like I told you that we are balancing ourselves right now, whether I'm sitting or standing, I'm balancing.
Yep.
You think about Luca, right? Why he
Mhm.
can't walk in the beginning? Because he hasn't learned how to balance yet.
Yeah.
Right? Because you think about it. So the same thing with the eyes, right? If you fix your eyes on one point, it becomes like dark black. You can't see anything until it starts to see the differences. When your eyes are twitching back and forth, right?
Right.
It detects differences, and that will give you the vision. But if you fix one point, eventually it will disappear until your eye moves again. I mean,
Right.
if you don't believe me, try it. Go look on Google.
Isn't
Try it.
that what those magic
No,
those magic, like the photos that you would like cross your eyes, you stare at one point until you see the new image.
right? That's different. This is
Oh, all right. Yeah,
what I'm
whatever.
saying is if you keep your eye still, and the way to keep your eye still is you focus on one point, right?
Right.
The concept is keeping your eye still and not having it move, because your eyes always like kind of have a minuscule movement, right?
Right.
A micro movement, right? That movement, it detects the changes in the image received to your brain. That image is what detects the vision. Without a new changes, that thing's becomes black because it doesn't see anything. So
Hmm.
so basically, it's a lot of the features that we have in life. It
Yeah, we
is
need
ba-
movement.
it is based on our changes that we detect.
Yeah,
Our
we
eyes detect movement. Our life detects movement. If
yeah.
we don't have the movement, then it's gone. It's not there anymore.
No, I mean, if you're right. If we don't move, we die. I mean, like I mean, it's yeah. No, I totally agree. So I mean, it all kind of fits nicely into like if you think you know everything, then you're kind of dead. Like and that's not cool. That's not what we want. So no, I love that. That's a I'm actually glad we dove a little deeper into this one because I was a little worried about it because I think we've talked about it so many different times. But it's always a fun topic
There's
and
always more to
yeah,
talk. I mean,
yeah,
we can talk
right.
this about for like days on end. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, like it's yeah. No, I'm glad that was a good one. So all right, any final thoughts for the night?
I like I said, the title, it's much more impactful if you say I don't know shit.
Right. Well, I'll let you go back through and critique all it because these are open source. Like I don't really care. I mean, anybody can take them and Wikipedia them and make them their own for all I give a
Like I
shit.
said, my philosophy is I don't know shit philosophy. It's
Right.
not I don't know anything philosophy. It's I don't know shit philosophy.
Well, you know, that's the name of the name of your truism book.
Yes, I don't know shit philosophy.
I actually really like that. I mean, it's a write your damn book, True. All right. All right. With
Well,
that said, well,
you can ghost write for me.
I'm not I cannot go. I'm an awful like grammatical writer. So unless you want me to tell I can't tell somebody else's story. I refuse to do that. That would be torture to me. Honestly, to tell somebody else's story like
Yes.
beyond
I
Amelia's.
mean, you can do like a biography, right? And a biography is not I don't write it myself, I don't
Yeah.
write. I'm not doing an autobiography, so
Fair.
a lot of live biographies are out there. It's not written by the the main character in that book.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right.
So
I'll think about it. I'll put it on the we can rethink that one again in the future. And
we
uh, awesome. All right.
all
So the
right.
question we can leave for everyone is what new adventures could you find yourself on using the power of unlearning and rethinking? The adventure of a lifetime is my answer. Awesome. All right. Well, we will see you all on Monday.
Monday.
And have a great one.
Yep. See you. Good night.